Hey guys, and welcome to arguably the toughest matchup in the game. I am a Rubber Duck of War, and today I shall be leading the mighty forces of Slaanesh up against one of their worst matchups, the forces of Khorne. These factions despise each other, they hate each other, and it is really rough. It is certainly one of the worst matchups in the game. There are many which could try to take that title, and often does depend on which game mode you are playing. I'd love to hear what you guys think are the toughest game modes down below in the comments. Or toughest matchups, I should say, but this is certainly one of the hardest ones. I will get to why in just a second. But for our forces, we have double cavalry on this flank, Seekers of Slaanesh mixed in with Heart Seekers, as well as an Exalted Keeper of Secrets coming in with the Lash, Acquiescence, as well as those Slicing Shards. In our main formation, we have Marauders of Slaanesh with Hell's Scourgers. They're a bit more defensive, able to pin the line in and hopefully be nice anvils for our cavalry to strike upon. We do have some Exalted Demonettes of Slaanesh down here on the left, and that is about it so far. As for my opponent, he has an Exalted Bloodthirster flying high in the skies. He attempted a breath attack on our cavalry. Luckily, we had fast enough micro to dodge it. And down here, we have double Cultists of Khorne coming in with that pesky summon, and a load of Chaos Warriors with halberds, and triple dual weapons. Now, dual weapons are basically the main reason, or there's many reasons, but they're certainly one of the big ones, why this matchup is almost impossible for Slaanesh. They kill almost everything in the Slaanesh roster relatively handily. They only struggle against armored troops, and Slaanesh has no armor, making them a little bit weak to such forces. And the infantry that can survive and punch back is a real problem for Slaanesh. We're going to try and make the use of our mobility in the early stages here, coming over our cavalry and just destroying enemy reinforcements. You can see the spawn going down very, very quickly, and the Exalted Keeper attempting to stop this other unit from charging us so we can then rear charge, drag the Bloodthirster in, and hopefully go for a bit of assassination attempt. So I'm thinking, hey, it's a Bloodthirster. I am a glorious Exalted Keeper of Secrets. I could take it down any day. And that is a bit of my hubris here, because the Bloodthirster actually starts slapping me up pretty bad. Despite the ballet of blows going down, I start really strongly, and then I start taking significant damage quickly. And I'm like, oh god, this isn't going so well. There's Flesh Hounds being summoned in here, and I need to get out of this dangerous situation before I lose my caster. Yes, it's my lord, but more importantly, my spellcaster. They're needed to take out a lot of this infantry. We bring in some more Marauders of Slaanesh, as well as a unit of Spawn of Slaanesh, just to shore up the middle, and we have some glorious Hellstriders rampaging forward, driving their steeds to greater feats of heroism to charge headlong into the enemy, and hopefully save our lord, who's getting pinned in at the moment by Flesh Hounds. We do counter-strike with our cavalry, pinning the enemy in place, and allowing our lord just to saunter gracefully to freedom. But a lot of our cavalry takes significant damage there. We did massive damage to the enemy. We also pinned them back. We are now in hot retreat back to the main fight, which will hopefully be taking place around Objective 2, where we've formed a nice defensive formation. At this point, I do a bit of a gambit. I sacrifice one unit of the Hell Scourgers up the hill into the enemy. This is bright snow. Look how blinding it is. My opponent simply cannot see that I'm overcasting a Slicing Shards down onto this position. He's blobbed up far too much, and you can hear the shattered glass piercing flesh and armor, doing significant damage to two units of the dual weapons. The cultists are fine. Looks like one unit was a little bit far back. We're coming with a Lash as well, just trying to do as much damage as possible. But despite that, the dual weapons comfortably break through our lines and start pushing forward towards Objective 2, which has been claimed for the glory of Slaanesh. Now, Objective 3 is in the hands of our opponent. I've not gone for my home objective yet. We do have some Marauders moving over there. Just a nice cheap unit to cap objectives. So we do have Marauders pushing up into the gap alongside some Heart Seekers to pin the enemy in place. Unfortunately, double Bloodletters have been spawned into the world, spat out from hell itself to do fight against us. The Spawn are going to decide to pull back from this. Likewise are the Exalted Demonettes. I really don't want them fighting Bloodletters. These are units which they shout a lot of pain, but also take a lot of damage against pretty much anything. So I really just want to keep these guys pinned in place with my cheap Marauders, who don't use too much value there. Looks like we're coming with a second Slicing Shards down on the Chaos Warrior dual weapons, and hopefully it's going to do some significant damage. Once again, catching so many units. My god, deleting units left, right, and center. To pin the main enemy force at bay, I'm moving up Spawn of Slaanesh and combining them with the Exalted Demonettes, giving ourselves a little bit more durability. We're also charming all these units. -8 melee attack to this entire blob is really lovely stuff. Looks like we have a Lash coming down as well, doing a decent bit of damage. My opponent is certainly blobbing up a bit too much, although it's understandable. That is often how Khorne play, kind of forming these gigantic bloody fists to punch their way through the enemy, and it is certainly working. I mean, he's pushing through this side quite effectively, and I'm starting to lose objective 2, though there is a lot of summons on the battlefield which are starting to dissipate and go away, making it a bit more of a fair fight here in the middle. We actually send the cultists of Khorne sprawling back into the dust. What can men do against such reckless demons? They swing and dance. Seductive Glory goes down, reducing the melee defense and rampaging a lot of these troops if they go below that health threshold. And Belair Blows is really turning the Exiled Keeper into an absolute world beater. Marauders are hunting down the Halberds. I want to attempt to duel them rather than allow them to hop on top of the Exalted Keeper. I also summon a Soul Grinder, which may seem a bit of a weird pick. There's a decent amount of Halberds on the battlefield, likewise a Bloodthirster, but my idea behind bringing the Soul Grinder is that it's probably going to do pretty decent up against the dual weapons, and they're a big problem for Slaanesh in general. Another Slice and Shards is going to come down, doing some pretty gnarly damage to the Halberds, and my opponent learned from his previous mistakes and did push out as much as possible to reduce the amount of damage he took. Now, maybe it would make sense to take the Exotic Keeper of Secrets off the battlefield at this point to stop me getting that army loss penalty if they go down, but I was really hoping to keep them alive because they're my magic dealer, and I need so many Slice and Shards and Whips and so forth to keep me in the fight against the enemy infantry. Exotic Demon has done a fantastic job alongside the unbreakable Spawn of Slaanesh, just pinning the enemy in place and really keep him at bay. They've done a fantastic job and survived far longer than they had any right to do so. Halberds are forced off by a lash. The opponent does swoop down in an attempt to seduce the Exalted Keeper into a final confrontation, but I have none of it. I drag them through my forces, come in with some well-timed Seekers of Slaanesh, plus pop a Fascination down on the opponent, doing some damage, but more importantly, rampaging them, keeping them in the spot. Look how furious he is, bellowing fire in frustration, but the Seekers of Slaanesh will surround the Exiled Bloodthirster and start to drag it down, yet my lord still lives. Only 842 HP is going to be moving in to help finish off some of the cultists. And the Soul Grinder's done a decent job so far. Not really been taking on too much infantry, but it was enough to break off this beat-up unit of dual weapons and drive away the cultists. We have even more cavalry starting to come into the fray, looking to apply a bit of pressure to objective 3. We are ahead ticket-wise. Were able in the end to capture our home objective, and my opponent's not put too much pressure on it. He's really tunnel visioning down here onto this central point. Now, the cultist is going to be going down here. He's also got the debuff on him from the Soul Grinder. My lord's just hunting down easy targets and really staying out of the main fight. We are keeping the enemy just about at bay. They're pushing more and more forward. We have a load of Seekers of Slaanesh in here now, though, doing some decent cycle charge and just moving in and breaking off. It seems like the Halberds even are going to retreat. -8 melee attack is seriously a huge boon. Those Exalted Demons have been fighting all day long. They're still the first unit we had on the battlefield, up to 84 kills and just being such world beaters against the enemy infantry. Certainly a good option, I think, in this matchup. We do come with a Slice and Shards. Our forces are a little bit static here. We need to move forward to ensure we can pin the enemy in place, and it looks like we do that with some of our boys, but the cavalry is deciding to fall back. My opponent is able to escape the worst of the Slice and Shard damage. The Halberds take decent damage, likewise does my old Soul Grinder, but hey, he's all about the kinkiness and the pain, and he's absolutely loving it. The Seekers of Slaanesh are swarming the cultists, trying to break it off the battlefield. I really do not want to engage too much with these Halberds. We are going to retreat back away from them. We can certainly cycle charge them, and we have got a little bit more cheap and cheerful chaff coming in the form of Marauders of Slaanesh, as well as the Hell Scourges, to get them onto the objective, because it's getting a little bit shaky here in this main big blob fight. The Hounds are starting to push through, and the dual weapons are doing some disgusting value, no doubt. This Soul Grinder of a lovely animation, just hear me roar, is doing fantastic work up against the dual weapons. A really good counter to them. Definitely a unit I want to try a bit more often in this matchup to see if it's just this game, or if in general it can perform really well. Cultist has been summoned, as have more Halberds. They are coming in drips and drabs, though. I'd like to see some of these units push round to objective 1 to apply a bit of pressure and force me to split my army, because at the moment I'm quite dominant here in the middle of the battle. And this Soul Grinder has some amazing animations, and these dual weapons, despite being really powerful, -8 melee attack drags it down to a far more respectable 31. And against some pretty elite units in the form of the Exiled Demons, we can see some awesome confrontation. Man and demon allying themselves to take down the corruption of Khorne. Doing some pretty cool animations, man. This is a really beautiful game when you kind of get up and close with it. Objective 2 still well and truly secure. With a load of cavalry, we're going to start pushing down the wings. My main fort behind this is we can flank attack the enemy and clear up these more injured and broken units in the back. We're also going to start applying a bit of pressure to my opponent's home objective and force him to send reinforcements this way. The blinding snow hides our arrival, and it looks like the Heartseekers are like, we don't want to fight the dual weapons for some reason. And then, they're jumping the cultist, shattering him, and then they're going to turn around and finish off the dual weapons for sure. The Halberdiers are doing okay in the back here. At least they were until some Seekers of Slaanesh have smelt them out. We're going to be hunting them down. We broke the dual weapons. We're now breaking the halberds, and then we can come in and rear attack all of these dual weapons and halberdiers. Cultist in the middle has got some bloodleads on the battlefield, and it's a close fight. I'm keeping my exotic keeper well out the fight. 927 HP is, not terrible, but I certainly don't want to risk losing them, particularly if I have any winds of magic left. So we're kind of vibing near the battle, trying to give a bit of encouragement to our troops. I believe we're also coming in and debuffing the enemy every now and again, but not getting too close. There you can see we do come in with the seductive glory, and my opponent decides to throw in the tower. I was capturing his home objective. We had infantry over there and cavalry. He had no kind of way of contesting my objective, and the middle one, objective 2, was pretty secure for us. Well played to my opponent nonetheless, though. I think he just blobbed a little bit too much in the wrong moments. It's not necessarily a bad idea to blob. Everyone kind of takes the mick out of it a little bit. It's absolutely fine to push through and overwhelm your opponent in certain key areas of the battlefield. Less so if they have slicing shards and you aren't able to dodge that spell. Now, he managed to dodge a relatively decent amount of them or reduce the damage on a lot of the slicing shards, but that first one in the blinding snow really caught him off guard, and it did manage to get our Exalted Keeper of Secrets 193 kills, 3,761 gold value. Beautiful work with just shy of 30k damage dealt. The Bloodthirster got 3,000 value as well. We have proven we are the greater of the great demon lords. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. It was a highlight game, really, from a live stream that I did yesterday, so feel free to go check that out. I had some awesome games, some very frustrating games, and it was a good time chilling out with everyone in chat. So yeah, feel free to go back and check that out. If you enjoyed this video and want me to continue to make more glorious Total War Warhammer content into the future, feel free to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below what you thought of the battle and what you'd like to see in the future. I may do another Warhammer 2 stream or video tomorrow. I'm yet to decide. But yeah, there's a lot of links down below to Twitch, Discord, and Patreon. If you want to submit replays, have them cast up on the channel, make sure to do that via my Discord and Twitch. Obviously, I do occasional extra streams. We've not really done them too much at the moment. And I do have a Discord link. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, Patreon, if you'd like to support the channel. Until next time, guys, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.